Number one is because it contains moisture. Any food that is more rich in moisture for any living being on the planet is better for them than a dry food, because we are all made up of moisture. We're all made of water, as you've heard and you know, and that's the same is true for our animals. We're losing Bailey to an off-camera treat. So we want to be letting our pets eat food that is rich in moisture. Thankfully for dogs, they do tend to drink water from their water bowls more than cats, so not necessarily as critical. For cats, it's literally a life or death situation. With many cats on an only kibble diet, they will become ill. They will not thrive at all. Some dogs will thrive reasonably well. I won't even say thrive. I couldn't call it thriving. They could maintain. But what we want is we want for our pets to be thriving. We want for them to be as healthy and vibrant and have as long life as possible and as few medical issues and struggles and vet bills, right? So we do that by feeding them a moisture-rich diet. And that's the huge number one benefit, is that the average dry food only contains about 10% moisture, whereas the average canned food contains about 78% moisture, so big difference. And we're trying to just meet what our pets need from a holistic standpoint. A species-appropriate diet for a dog is to eat its food that's rich in moisture. So if Bailey was outside today, out in the wild in her natural state, yeah, I couldn't even picture that, as she gets licky treat stick, but she perhaps today would catch a rabbit, and that would be her meal today. So the meat and the rabbit is going to be rich in moisture. They certainly are never outside eating anything resembling dry kibble. So we want to try to meet that. How we're going to keep our pets the most healthy is by always looking back in history into their wild ancestry and say, what were they naturally doing? What would our animal naturally be eating? And that's the answer. So benefit number one, canned is higher moisture than dry. Benefit number two is that a canned food often provides much more protein than a dry food. So there are a few dry foods on the market that do manage to make a pretty decently high protein percentage, but most of them are not. They're under the recommended percentage of protein that a dog should be eating. So our dogs ideally should be eating 75 to 85% protein in every meal in their diet, with the remaining percentage being some plant matter, some fruit, vegetables, some starchy things like different roots, or even like sweet potato, flax seeds, that kind of thing. But 75 to 85% should be protein. And a good quality canned food, like one of the canned foods brands that I will be recommending to all of you, will have somewhere between 85 to even 90% protein for our dogs, and no dry food is going to reach those percentages. Most dry foods are between somewhere around 60 to 70% protein. So protein should be, the major content of our dog's intake of daily calories for them to be healthy, to meet what their body needs, that 75 to 85% ratio. So just considering that fact, they need to eat a canned food diet just so they can get the appropriate amounts of protein that their body needs to thrive on. So the last two considerations of a canned food diet, because canned food is still not my top recommended food of any holistic veterinarian out there or any trained professional animal nutritionist, they're going to try to steer people onto feeding your pets more actual fresh food. So foods that are gently cooked, dehydrated, homemade cooked, or homemade raw, commercially balanced frozen raw, or freeze-dried raw, or a dehydrated diet. Stubby's getting sick of this, so I'm gonna let him go. Say bye to everybody. Bye. He says, I'm gonna go find my dinner. So, that being said though, a canned diet I know works for many people right now. Maybe, hopefully, eventually you could work your pet up to a more healthy, fresh food diet and start incorporating some of these other things like some dehydrated food or some even balanced home cooked food. But canned is beneficial because it's convenient. You know, it's as simple as opening the can, putting it on the plate, feeding it to them. A dog, an adult dog, ideally Bailey gets fed twice a day. She gets a home cooked food, but even for a canned food diet, just twice a day for adult dogs, unless your dog is under a year old, or if they're a especially large breed dog, sometimes they may need more meals than that, over a year old. But that's the average, and just easy and convenient to open the can and feed your dog twice a day from the canned food. And then the last benefit is, of course, that it's highly accessible. You can go to any local pet store or on any of the plethora of online stores and order the canned food in. So those are all the benefits. And like I said, canned food diet is the bottom of the tier. I have like a pyramid tier of the foods that I recommend, and canned foods on the bottom level of the quality of foods. I never recommend kibble food. There's just no health sustaining benefits to kibble food. It only robs our pets of health. However, if you choose a good, high quality canned food from a good brand, which, like I said, my list for dogs will be coming out in a couple weeks, then at least it is life maintaining and they will thrive well on a quality canned food that's high protein, and then up from there. So that is it. That's a wrap on my benefits of canned versus kibble. And so I hope maybe I've inspired some of you to make the switch and toss the bag. I should start a little new hashtag, toss the bag. No more bags of dry food, and switch your babies to some canned. So I lost all my babies here. But anyway, if anybody has any questions now, I can answer any questions you might have. And be sure that you're following and liking and subscribing on YouTube. And if you want to get on our email newsletter so you don't miss any of my weekly pet tips, then just message me your email. We can add you there. And keep an eye out for Sunday night. We're going to be doing another product demo of our Renewed Pet products, and this week coming up is conditioner.
If you're yeah,
I believe.
If we get a model.
So yeah, skin conditioner for hairless pets. So we will see you back then. Nobody's got any questions?
Not that I can see anyway.
All right. Well, thank you, Bailey, for participating. She had a great time. We had a great time seeing all of you as always, and have a great Friday night.